What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching The Road to Beast Wars. This is just a web series where we're talking about the production of Transformers Rise of the Beasts. This is episode number 50. And in this episode, I just want to tell you guys something huge. Big news, one of the biggest news that I had to report, and it's right here in the 50th episode of this incredible journey. Transformers Rise of the Beasts will be presented in 3D. That's it. All right. I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, let's just elaborate on that. Okay, I know it's not the most exciting news, but let's just talk a little bit more about that. So, back in December of 2022, there was a French film convention, and of all the film conventions out there, it had to be a French film convention, and I just wonder why, and that is this was filmed in Montreal. All right, so where they speak French, and it was confirmed in in a couple of these tweets that Transformers Rise of the Beast will be presented in 3D. Now, this might be insignificant to some people, and it might be exciting to some people who actually love 3D or enjoy it or don't mind it. The best 3D will always be held by Avatar and Avatar The Way of Water, okay? But I will tell you that the 3D in Transformers Dark of the Moon was also superb. Not the greatest, but also quite superb because Michael Bay got the same team that worked on Avatar to work on the 3D in Transformers Dark of the Moon. It was filmed in 3D. Transformers Age of Extinction was also filmed in 3D. The thing is that I actually preferred the 3D in Transformers Dark of the Moon over Age of Extinction because when you watch Transformers Dark of the Moon, you can tell that they really did more to make the 3D I guess look better, and that was first using 3D cameras and also developing 3D cameras for Transformers Dark of the Moon. As for Age of Extinction, they switched between 2D and 3D. I mean, post conversion and also being filmed in 3D, and you could totally tell that because you can see when they switch between IMAX 3D and then just a regular 3D with in presented in widescreen, and a lot of the shots were also handheld. Michael Bay likes to do a lot of aggressive handheld work, which actually is detrimental to the presentation of 3D because 3D processes the best when the camera is still, as in it's either stationary or moving steadily. Okay, but he's got a lot of handheld camera work, so your brain doesn't really process the 3D, and it might as well be in 2D. Okay, I'm guessing that in Transformers Rise of the Beast there will be less of that. But the one thing that you need to know that's really really important about when deciding whether you're going to watch Transformers Rise of the Beast in 2D or 3D is the fact that this was still an afterthought. Okay, Transformers Rise of the Beast was not shot in 3D. If you haven't even noticed, we haven't had a lot of 3D films watched theatrically. Okay, there haven't been a whole lot of 3D films because 3D is actually a kind of a dying fad. James Cameron is the only one who's really keeping 3D alive, and in James Cameron we trust because he does such a great job with it. I watched the re-release of Titanic in 3D and it was superb. Okay, so he knows what he's doing. As for everybody else, 3D is just an afterthought. It's a cash grab. It's a money grab. It's a way of just adding extra dollars to ticket prices for something that is subpar. Okay, so if you want to check it out in 3D, go right ahead. But I'm just letting you guys know that this film was originally shot in 2D, and they decided that okay, it's going to be in 3D. So I guess they're going to have it post converted in the end. Okay, so who knows how? I'm sure it'll look fine, but I don't think it'll look great. Okay, so I mean, the first Transformers was not presented in 3D. It had an IMAX, re-release. The second film didn't have 3D. It had it was shot in IMAX for some scenes, and then Dark of the Moon never even had an IMAX release, but it was promoted and filmed to be in 3D. So like watching it in 3D is the way it was meant to be seen. And then as for Transformers: Age of Extinction, IMAX 3D was the way to go. Definitely 3D, definitely in IMAX because they filmed a lot of scenes in IMAX. And then same thing with Transformers Last Night. But as for Bumblebee, it wasn't released in 3D. It just wasn't something that they were interested in doing or even thought about. They just wanted to film a big movie, present it in IMAX, and that's about it. But as for Transformers: Rise of the Beast, definitely going to be get an IMAX release, and it's going to get a 3D release. But it's not something that I really go out of my way to go watch. Okay, I don't think it's going to be a significant change, but I'm probably gonna end up watching it in both 2D and 3D, but if I end up skipping to 3D, it's not a big deal. Okay, so there you have it. I just want to talk about that because I trust 3D when it's good, but the only one I do trust is James Cameron, and unless James Cameron had a hand or his team, his 3D team had a hand in this, it's not something I'm too gonna lose any sleep over. Okay, so there you have it. That's the episode. That's all I wanted to talk about. And I know it's not a huge piece of information, but it is something to talk about. And there's a lot more to it than just it's gonna be 3D. It's the amount of work they put into it, and I don't think that they're gonna put that much work into it. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but they we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's see how much they actually end up promoting it in 3D and talking about the whole process, before the release of the film. Then we'll go from there. All right. Anyways, my name's Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.